Have you heard of severe, total, utter neglect? I can't remember who came up with that acronym now, but it obviously spells STUN, and is this idea that when planting perennials, you want them to, you don't want to baby them. Like, you just want to stick them in the ground, and if they grow, they grow. If they don't, too bad. Because you want resilient species, resilient trees, etc., that don't need babying, which I'm all for. But I just want to sort of say a few things about S.T.U.N. S.T.U.N has worked for me. Let's see. Okay, I'll give you an example. This apricot was planted 7 years ago. It was absolutely stunned. No babying done whatsoever. Don't remember watering it. Haven't really mulched it, but I will at some point. There's a bit of grass around there, but nothing in particular. And it's done okay, but it's not really the growth you'd expect in 7 years, is it? I mean, it's okay, but it's still pretty small. If we'd babied it, if we'd watered it, I think it would have grown a lot bigger. But there is an argument, that, okay, let it do its thing, let it grow at its own pace, it'll be the healthier for it. So, okay, I'll call this a stun success. Another thing that definitely thrives on total and utter neglect is walnuts. Like, they will just come up everywhere. I don't know if it's animals sowing them around or, us dropping them or whatever, but there's tons of them around. Never obviously watered those. I don't even want them there, really. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We could try grafting them as well. That's another possibility. But walnuts will grow pretty much wherever. These sweet chestnuts, pretty pleased. No babying needed there. Whether they'll actually produce chestnuts is another thing, because I believe they need quite a lot of subterranean water. But this was planted 7 years ago. Can you see the chestnut? It's like this one here. Planted 7 years ago as well, and it's grown pretty nicely. I think this one was 7 years ago as well. It hasn't grown quite as well, but no babying. But as I say, they do need subterranean water, and apparently won't do very well if they're not getting enough water. And water is something we definitely lack around here. So, and also this, let me just get away from the sun. This is a sour cherry. Yep, that's had zero babying. That's just been stuck in the ground. Like, I literally, when I plant trees, I often don't even water them in, which is really stupid, and I will start doing that. But it's usually in winter. It's just it's cold. I just want to get it in the ground, and I just stick it in the ground. I'm like, yeah, well, the snow will sort it out, the rain will sort it out. But with the lack of rain we're having, well into a month of drought now, and a pretty dry winter as well on the whole, in the last few years, I think it does need a little bit of help. But, as I say, this got just stuck in the ground and has done fine. Sour cherry. And so I think they can be stunned. What definitely cannot be stunned is peaches, which I showed you at the beginning. I have consistently failed with peaches, and I just want to show you, I think this is the second or third peach I've tried to plant in this spot, just sort of downhill of this kind of berm or swale. What's wrong with that spot? I don't know. Is it really just me not taking care of them, watering them? But I mean, I probably have to start thinking about giving up on growing anything in that spot like a peach. This is a peach I planted 2 years ago. It's barely clinging to life. I've now finally mulched it, and I'm going to finally do some watering, because I'm just going to put it out there. Peaches do not respond well to the stun method. Controversial opinion. This is another one I put in this year. It's barely clinging to life. I'd be very surprised if that makes it now. But I have got a bunch of mulch here, which I'm gonna just chuck on there off camera, and I'm going to water it. Actually, I'll do it the other way around. Let's water it first. So I don't know why, I want peaches. I like peaches. I want to grow some peaches in this kind of food forest setup. See all the water just running down the hill there, which you really don't want. It's kind of better to water a little bit uphill of it and try and get it sort of impacting the ground and soaking in. But it's okay, you know, the water should, you know, this is downhill, so it should still get to the roots of this. So, you know, we're going to give it a pretty good water. But yeah, I want to grow peaches, but peaches, I would say, are not responding well to the S.T.U.N method. This is one that's barely clinging to life. I'll come back and give it some more water later. I need to water the others as well. This one, as I said, completely failed for like the second or third year running. This feeble specimen is also, like, as I said, I think like 2 years old or something, and it's got a couple of healthy leaves, but like that's it. And again, I haven't really taken care of it, but I've now mulched it, and I'm now going to water it as well. So, you know, you can talk about S.T.U.N. Some things work, some things don't, and I agree with the sentiment. You know, you want things to just succeed on their own and do their own thing. You don't want to be, you want to be watering them, fertilizing them, running around after them. That's why, you know, I love watching what's his name, S.T.U.N, with a Polish surname. he's permaculture orchard. It's great. But, you know, he irrigates it. That's not for me. Like, he's got drip lines out there. I'm not putting drip lines in my food forest. You know, of course, if you want to grow on a commercial scale, I think you've probably got to. But, you know, that's not for me. I just want to stick it in the ground and go. But with peaches, it ain't going to work. And I was about to water this one, which is another one I planted. Actually, I think that was a nectarine. Can't you tell? And I think that's pretty much dead. So I think I'm done with peaches as far as trying to just stick them in the food forest and grow. So peaches are one of those things, you know, if I want them, I am going to have to put in a little bit of work and look after them. So again, it goes back to what I was saying in the previous video. What was I saying in the previous video? You really have to think about species which will look after themselves in a drought landscape like this, especially in summer when we have these hot, dry summers. And one of those things is peaches. A peach I've stuck inside the swale. Peaches, sorry. Peaches. Figs. Definitely not peaches. Definitely not peaches. Figs are one of those things that will sort of succeed anywhere. And I stuck one in this swale that I just dug it up by the roots from somewhere else. It was like a runner. And I am going to give it a little bit of water because it's just so dry. Just to keep it alive when it's young, because, you know, we can't afford, you know, to keep buying new trees. I can't afford the time, you know, the money. Okay, they're not super expensive, peach trees, but I can't afford the time. I'm 51, you know, I want to eat some peaches in my lifetime. I don't want to just leave it all to my kids or whatever. Pawpaws, these little pawpaw in there. I mean, they need water. They're going to need babying, but I want pawpaws. So do we S.T.U.N or do we not? I think you have to see what works in your climate, in your environment, and decide accordingly. And if you want to go with the S.T.U.N method, you're just going to have to make sure you're picking varieties and species that will look after themselves in your climate. Which, if you're in a temperate climate with plenty of rain, even in the summer, a decent amount of cold hours in the winter, you know, you probably have much more choice than me. But if you're in a dry climate like this, well, you're going to have to go with some, you know, you're going to have a more limited choice. So there we go. Tell me about your experience with the S.T.U.N method.